Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Glory and honor to our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. Glory and honor to him who is the creator of all things, the creator of his chosen, Israel, the creator of everything in the earth and under the earth and above the earth, the creator of all mankind, Father Yahweh. Glory and honor to his name. Glory and honor to his only begotten Son, whom he has chosen. His only begotten Son, who is the prophet of all prophets and the only high priest for Israel. His only begotten Son, who is the atonement for sin and who he has given the kingdom of this earth to be his forever. Yahweh Shah, Mashiach. Glory and honor to his name. Greetings to the 12 tribes scattered. Scattered because of our sin of worshiping another God. Scattered and now awakening and returning back to our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of whom we are his bloodline. Praise the Most High. And to the 144,000 among them, chosen as the forerunners of the return of Messiah and the establishment of his kingdom, giving the warning message to come out of Babylon to his chosen. Praise the Most High. Glory and honor to his name. Greetings to the 144,000 as well as the 12 tribes of which they inhabit. Greetings also to our precious brothers and sisters of the Gentiles of Shem, Ham, and Japheth from all over the earth, who are not the bloodline, and yet by the blood have been chosen also. Greetings to you. Greetings to the chat. Brother Yakoba Ben Israel, my Florida brother, Isha Shama, and brother Frankie, and sister Ramona. Hebrew is Rhonda. Brother Gary Joseph, my brother, Navista 23, my brother David Harriet from across the pond, Akawan Banya and fam, Mikael Israel. Glory and honor to the Father Yah. Welcome. Yafi, Diamond Holdings, Psalm 119, my brother Brandon Beckman and his beautiful wife and his family. And Castle King, my brother Lonnie, Lion of Judah, Stephen Kelly. Greetings and blessings, brothers and sisters. We're going to continue in our study of Genesis, going to Genesis chapter 11 today. Praise the Most High. What a blessing we have been getting. Tommy going, Shabbat Shalom. We have been getting a blessing in studying this book. Brethren, this book has the only book that teaches us what's going to happen. See that? It's the only volume given to us to tell us what's about to happen, what has happened, what's about to happen, and what's going to happen way in the future. Brethren, they just passed a law in Florida. You might have heard about it. Governor DeSantis pushed through a law where they're no longer going to teach Black history in the proper context. They're going to actually teach Black history from a context that slavery, that we benefited, that the slaves benefited from slavery. They're actually going to pervert Black history. Yes, they're going to do that. But you know what, brethren? Listen to me carefully. I'm telling you, this is a blessing. Why? Yes, this is a blessing. Not that the lie, anytime you bring a lie, it's a blessing. But I'm going to tell you why this is a blessing. Because, brothers and sisters, let's take a look real quick. Let me let the word of the Most High teach us. Let me not teach us. Let the word of the Most High teach us. Let's look at this. Let's look in the book of Deuteronomy, the book of the law. Let's take a look. Why is this a blessing? The book of the law will tell us. The book of the law will tell us. This is Deuteronomy chapter 6. Deuteronomy chapter 6. Watch this. Deuteronomy chapter 6. And I'm going to start at verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 6. Let's see. Beginning at verse 4, and I'm going to go from verse 4. Let's see. Man, I'm going to go down from verse 4 down to verse 8. Deuteronomy chapter 6 from verse 4 to verse 8. Hear, O Israel. So this call is from the Most High to Israel. If you believe that the former slaves are Israelites, this is for you. Okay? Hear, O Israel. Yahweh, our Most High, is one Yahweh. Ain't but two. Ain't two of them, is one. Okay. And thou shalt love Yahweh thy Most High with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. These words which I command thee this day, watch now. These words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. And thou, that is you Israelites, thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. You should be teaching your children. What you teaching them? You're teaching them the commandments. You're teaching them who your Father in heaven is. You're teaching them your history. Not just that. Look. Diligently unto thy children, and shall talk when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, when thou risest up. Thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thy eyes. Unfortunately, our fathers, they started putting little scribbles of the law on their hand, literally, and putting something on their head. That's not what the Father was trying to tell us. That the law of Yah, the truth of who we are, the truth of our history should be in our minds. It should occupy how we do our business, what we do. That's what the hand is. What you do, it should occupy, it should be involved in every decision you make. Wait a minute. Let me see. There's more. Let's see. Wait. There's more. I got more. But that's you see, this is the reason I say it's a blessing though, because why? Because we are supposed to be teaching our children. What? We got to depend on the U.S. government to teach us who we are? Wait, how'd that sound? We got to depend on the U.S. government to teach us who we are? I'm trying to find this other thing. We need to depend on the U.S. government and the U.S. government and their schools to teach us who we are? How'd that sound? Huh? How'd that sound? We can't be dependent on the government to teach us who we are. I mean, look at this. We were dependent on white Jesus to teach us who we are. And look what happened. We were enslaved by the creators of white Jesus. We depended on white Jesus to teach us who we are. Right. That's right. Where exactly do we think we're going to learn our history from our slave master? How the master of the slavery going to teach us about who we are? So it's a blessing that DeSantis did what he did, because all of the Hebrews out here trying to learn from the government who we are fools. Just tell you straight how it is, man. You can't be, you can't be looking to the government to see who you are. Man, I'm trying to find something in here, but I can't find it. But you can't be looking to the government to see who you are. That's not, no, that's not how you do it. No, brethren. We have to teach our children and our grandchildren who we are. We have to tell our grandchildren, this is our history. We are the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. This is our history. We were enslaved by Pharaoh. We got to teach our history. This is our history. This is our history, brother. This is our history. Right here. It's in the book. Okay? The Messiah is our cousin. You should be teaching your children this. The Messiah is your bloodline, your cousin. Your cousin. Okay, besides your cousin. Yeah. And you are related. Your great grandfather's name was Abraham. His name was Abram, and it was changed to Abraham. That's what you should be teaching your children. Never mind what the school is teaching your children. Look, if you see, one of the problems, brother. Now look here. Let me just tell you, one of the problems that we had in terms of our own confusion is that we didn't know who we are. We had no knowledge of self. And I don't even have to explain that to y'all because y'all know for your own self. This is what I love about the truth about who we are. I don't have to explain half of this stuff to those of you that know because you already experienced it, right? So part of the problem we have had all our lives is not knowing where we belong, not knowing who we are. We can't relate to the 4th of July because we was enslaved. And to try to act like we wasn't, it doesn't feel right. We can't relate to Columbus Day because we're not Italian. We can't relate to the Pilgrims. We didn't come over here on the Mayflower. You understand? We can't relate. So we try to fit in. We try to become Christians, try to become Catholics, try to become SDA, Jehovah's Witness, Muslim. We're trying to fit in because we don't know who we are. We let other people tell us who we are. We don't even know our real names. See? And that's a lot of our problem stems from a lack of knowledge of self. You belong nowhere. You're a former slave. You're carrying the name of the slave master that got you off the ship. The one you were sold to. So you don't know who you are. So why, as we are now awakened, will we depend on the slave master to tell us our history? We could bless our children and our grandchildren with their true history so that they could sit down in a public school classroom and they could be talking all that mess that slavery benefited the slaves. And you could say, yeah, it benefited our fathers because it punished us because we are the true Israelites and it's causing us to awaken. Your children could tell them. You say, your textbook says this, but our textbook says this. Our textbook says this. We were enslaved in Egypt. We were delivered by a great deliverance. Our father Abraham was called. Our cousin is Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. That's our cousin. That's our bloodline relative. You could talk to him about that. You could talk to him about that. Then when some animal that looks like a raccoon comes at you and say, that's not fair, that's reverse racism. When some animal that looks like a raccoon comes at you and says, that's reverse racism, you could also respond, Judas looked like you. Judas always looks like us. You understand? It's all here. It's all here. Wait, I found what I was looking for. Okay, here. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Watch, brethren. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Same book of the law. Don't let it depart out of the mouth. Same book of the law. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Beginning at verse 1 and going down to verse 10. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Who are you? Where you come from? Who are you? Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4 from verse 1 down to verse 10. Who are you? What's your name? Where you get your name from? Where you come from? Your grandchildren come to you and say, Grandpa, where we come from? My friend Johnny, his family, they came from Poland. Where we come from? They say we come from Africa. Is that where we come from? Now, therefore, hearken, O Israel, verse 1, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, Moses said, for to do them that ye may live and go in and possess the land which Yahweh Most High of your fathers hath given you. You see, the land is important, brother. When you don't have land, you don't have a solidified nation. See, that's why we are a scattered nation, according to the Bible, because we don't have land. Land, you got to have a geography to be a nation. So the Father's calling us back and he's going to give us land because we are going to be not a religion. We don't have a church. We have a nation. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh your Most High, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did because of Baal Peor. All the men that followed Baal Peor, Yahweh hath destroyed them from among you. See, let me just say something controversial, but you know I don't care because it's the truth anyhow, right? Christianity is Baal Peor. All man-made religion is after the order of Baal. Baal. They call Baal Lord. Baal. Teach your children. Baal Peor is not going to cause you to do nothing. White Jesus is not going to help you, grandchild. My grandson, my granddaughter, white Jesus is not going to help you. Our Father in heaven and the Hebrew Messiah, your cousin, he's going to help you. But ye that did cleave unto Yahweh your Most High are alive, every one of you this day. Wait, it gets better. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my Most High commanded me, that ye should do so in the land, whether ye go to possess it. Teach your children. We don't have no land. We're going to get it. The Father's going to give it to us. He's going to give it to us. Messiah, the King, is coming, and he's going to give us the land, and we're going to be a nation again. Keep therefore and do them. This is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, which hath the Most High so nigh unto them, as Yahweh our Most High is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great and has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which Christians try to tell you is done away with? Which I set before you this day. Verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest they forget the things which thine eyes have seen, lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. That's what I was looking for. Not just your children, your grandchildren. Especially, it says, especially the day that thou stoodest before Yahweh, thy Most High in Orb, when Yahweh said, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, that they may teach their children. He said, especially teach them that day. What you were teaching them? It was your and my family that stood at the mountain. We're the only people in the history of planet Earth that actually heard the voice of the Creator. You pass that down. No other people ever in the history of the earth heard the voice of the Creator. Our fathers, our bloodline, our grandfathers and grandmamas, they heard the voice of the Creator. He only talked to them. He said, especially that day. He said he gave us his covenant as a nation. Nobody else. He didn't give it to nobody else. See, other people trying to copy it, but they can't because it wasn't given to them. It was given to us. This is what you teach your children. When they get ready to go to school, when the school bus picks them up and they get into this classroom and they pull open these fake books and they try to tell you lies, you know, you guys benefited from slavery. Say, yep. How do we benefit? You know, we didn't get no financial benefit. We didn't become American citizens. No, we benefited because the punishment caused us to come back to our God. And we know now why Jesus is not ours. We know now Christianity is not ours. We know now we're his chosen and that the Messiah is actually our cousin. That's what we know. That's what we know. See? That's what we know, brethren. See, that's what I'm saying. Let them teach in the school whatever they want to teach. They could teach the rainbow. They can teach the alphabet soup. They could teach whatever they want to teach. But you got to teach your children at home. You got to teach them. You got to teach them who you are. You got to teach them who Akawan Banya. Watch this Nagros one here. Watch this one, Akawan Banya. I'm gonna tell you right now. Watch this one right here. He come in here to disrupt. I can tell you already. Okay, Akawan Banya. Watch yourself there. Watch him for me, brother. Got you. Okay. I know you got it. Now, what was I saying? So, in Florida, they're gonna be teaching foolishness in the school. But you know what, brethren? Should we be surprised at this? Is this the first time schools taught foolishness? Haven't we been taught about white Jesus all our lives? Haven't we? So they being our enemies have always tried to hide our true history. Because to know who we are, to have a knowledge of self, is more power than any nuclear weapon. Let me say it again. To have a knowledge of who you really are, what your true heritage is more powerful than any nuclear weapon. It's more powerful than any army. It's more powerful than anything. To know who you are and know what your real inheritance is, know where you come from. And it's all written right here for the whole world to see. Teach your children. Teach your children's children. Teach your grandchildren. Teach them who you are, where you come from, how you got here. Y'all know all this. Teach them who you are, where you come from, how you got here, and what's the next phase. Because the book teaches us all of that. Teaches us who we are, teaches us where we come from, teaches us how we got here, teaches us the next phase. Teaches us the whole thing. You got to know who you are, brethren. Otherwise, anybody can move you. You know, you can see it right now, but through the whole history of the United States of America, we have been everybody's tool and puppet. And we've been believing them. This is what happened. We come over here and they say, okay, I'm going to set you free eventually as soon as we finish this 300 years of you building up my nation. But no, they didn't do it. And the Most High caused the civil war between them. Killed 500,000 of their own. Then we got free to change and we start building up the place again, called the Reconstruction. That's how the place got rebuilt. We built it. Then we started becoming senators and judges and lawyers, made them nervous. Then they came, once the place was rebuilt, they didn't need us anymore. This is a theme. Once they don't need you anymore, they say, go home, nigga. Once they don't need you no more, right? Because you done built it up. So now you built it up. They said, now they brought in Jim Crow. Took away your right to vote. Took away your judges. Destroyed your cities where you built your cities, where you built your towns on your own bootstrap. Burned them to the ground and then tried to make you slaves again with sharecropping. That's why I say it was more than 300 years we were enslaved, because sharecropping was slavery. My grandmama was raised as a sharecropping family here in Florida. And we now live in a spot that's called the plantation. I said, we used to be picking fruit here. Now we own it. It's a prelude of what's to come. There you go. See, everybody got that history, So then they put us back into slavery. The New Deal came, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and they all got the New Deal. We got screwed. We got redlined. That was our New Deal. We got redlined. Couldn't buy no house. Couldn't get no Fed loans. Couldn't even get Social Security. That's what we got. That's history. That's real history. We trusted them. Go off to fight in wars against people we don't even know. We went and fight in World War I against people we don't even know. Leopold. We don't even know. Go and fight in World War II against Hitler and Hirohito. Don't even know them. Killing on their behalf. Went to Korea. Come back here. Getting hung from trees in our uniforms. Getting castrated in our uniforms. That we went there to fight for them. Because we were promised we'd be citizens. Nah, brethren. Know who you are. Know why you're here. Know what happened. Understand. Our deliverance is not going to come from Pharaoh. Pharaoh didn't deliver our people. Our deliverance ain't coming from Pharaoh. Our deliverance ain't coming from Caesar. Caesar ain't going to deliver us. The beast ain't going to deliver us. Though we all in the beast system. So now, all this, believe it or not, all this relates to what we're dealing with today. The call, brethren. Y'all have heard, like I've noticed in my life, the best teachers that I've ever met always were people that were called to be teachers. Like they didn't become teachers because they got great benefits or the salary was so great. They became teachers because they were called. They were born, they were created to teach. And some of the greatest teachers I met in the public schools were poor people. I didn't know it then, but they were. And they just were called to do what they did. Some of the greatest law enforcement officers, and I'm talking about the Klansmen that parade around in police uniforms. I'm talking about real law enforcement officers that do the real thing, the people you respect. They were called to be law enforcement officers. There are people that are firemen, risk their lives, not because there's such great benefits, not because they're getting paid to be firemen. They risk their lives because they were called to be firemen. See, when you answer a calling, it's more than some vocation that you just choose. When I asked some brother, I said, so when were you born again? He called this man a pastor. I said, so tell me the story. Because brethren, all of us should have a testimony. If you don't got a testimony, your stuff ain't real yet. So I asked this man, I said, Kim, tell me your story. How did you come to be born again? And he said, I quote, I was raised in the church. Then he began to tell me how he was raised in the church and went to church school and ended up becoming a minister. And I said, no, he still didn't get it. And I asked him, I said, no. When were you born again? When did it happen? How did it happen? Tell me the story. What's your testimony? Well, I did leave the church and I started getting into drinking and stuff. Then I came back to the church. And I realized not only was he never born again, he was not called to be any minister. Because, brethren, when you answer a call that's placed on you, it's for a purpose. It's like your destiny. This is what you were born to do. Not only that, aside from a policeman or a fireman or a teacher, right? The call of Yah is different. And this is the major difference. This, what I'm about to tell you, separates a true calling of Yah from everything else. When a person is called to the Father Yah, they are called to bring glory to his name. It ain't because they're going to baptize 10,000 people or they're going to live in some big palace. They are called to bring glory to his name. What made David great? What made David a man after Yah's own heart, though he was a murderer? He repented. He acknowledged his sin, humbled himself before the people, and repented of his sin. When he would sin, his heart would smite him, and he would acknowledge. Some kings will put a prophet in jail for coming to him and speaking the truth. Ahab put prophet in jail for speaking the truth. Some prophets had to run from Israel because a wicked king would try to kill him for speaking the truth. When Nathan came to David and said, "You're the man," his heart smote him and he received it. He received it. That's a brother that's called. That's how you know. When a brother's called from the Yah, it's not for their own glory. It's not for them to run a church. Lord called me to raise up a church. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Why don't we never? If somebody tells you that, You can know right now they're a false prophet. You don't need to raise up what Yah has already created. Yah created the 12 tribes. What you raising up? You can't create no church. No, when you're called to bring glory to the Father's name. And the best way you can bring glory to his name is obedience. And your obedience should inspire others to be obedient to the Father. When people claim today to be called, a lot of times what they doing? Glorifying themselves. Am I lying? How many people you say, I'm called? I had one fool woman, I'm a prophetess. I said, you're not what you think you are. I told her, I said, you're not what you think you are. Here you are trying to rebuke a man, a teacher in Israel, and you calling yourself a prophetess? You ain't no prophetess. See this? When a person is called, when they answer Yah's call, it's to glorify Yah. You'll notice this in the Bible. We're going to look at this. Look at this. Watch this. Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17. I praise the Most High for his word, man. My goodness. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Revelation chapter 17. Watch this. I'm going to start at verse. There's so much here. I'm going to start at verse 11. And I'm going to start at verse 11. And I'm going to go down to verse 14. Revelation chapter 17, from verse 11 to verse 14. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth and is of the seven and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is master of masters, Lord of lords, and King of kings, Malak of Malakim. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. They that are with the Lamb, called, chosen, and faithful. What did the Messiah teach us about that? He said, no man can come to me except my Father draw him. See, when you're called by the Father, as Messiah said, I don't do my own will. I don't speak my own words. I only do and speak as I see from my Father. Not my will, Father's will be done. Guess what? All of the followers of Messiah are the same way. Not my will, Father's will be done. We're actually, I wanted to tell y'all know today, somebody wants to be baptized today, later on this afternoon. Yeah, pray for that. Sister's Tanya. Tanya wants to be baptized, if she still does, but she says she wants to be baptized. Sister Heather, y'all remember Sister Heather? Sister Heather bringing her over here today to be baptized. Isn't that something? Yeah, Sister Heather bringing her over here today, man. Called me up last week to be baptized. Yeah, they coming from your neck of the woods, Jacoba. They coming from over there, St. Petersburg. They coming from over there, St. Petersburg, driving over. They coming from your neck of the woods. Yeah, praise the Most High. But look, y'all know what I'm going to say to her, right? Are you willing to trust in Yahweh with all thy heart? Are you willing to lean not to your own understanding? Are you willing, and do you promise, do you make a covenant? Do you make a commitment? Do you make a vow that in all your ways, you're going to acknowledge him and allow him to direct your path? Y'all know that is called. That is called, brethren. That's called. That's it. That's called, brethren. Ryan didn't know. That's called. See, that's it. That's being called right there. We're not saying, well, you called to be rich and powerful and to get a lot of money and to build a big church and have 1,000 people, 10,000 people bowing to you or under you. That's not called. That's called by Asatan. How do I know that's called by Asatan? Because who's being glorified? Father Yah or man? That's how you can know. Okay? Is man being glorified or is Father being glorified? And look here. It can't be man and Father. It's got to be only Father. What the heck do we do that we should be glorified? Right? When you think about that, what the heck? Well, because somebody's handsome or pretty or charismatic. What the heck do we do that we should be glorified? No, the glory is Father Yah. It's Father Yah alone. Okay? That's how you know. Well, brethren, let's go back for a second. Genesis. Let's go back to what we've already covered. Ground we covered that we need to recover. Praise the Most High. Genesis. Let's see. Let me go. Let's start here. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to start at Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6. Let's cover some ground we already saw. Let's start at verse 5 and go down to verse. Let me see. Wait. I'm gonna go from verse 5, and then I'm gonna go down to verse 9, and then we're gonna skip down. Okay, Genesis chapter 6 from verse 5 to 9. And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Again, brethren, I didn't always understand it. I thought that they were just up to no good all the time, which is true. But really, the evil continually is that you only think about yourself. You don't care about the Father Yah. Your needs, your wants, your desires come first. That's evil continually, because that's after the order of Asatan. Okay? And it leads to all manner of bad decisions and bad actions. And it repented Yahweh that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping things and fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with Yah. Noah was called. Let's skip down. I'm going to go from verse. Let's see. Let me go from verse 18. Actually, I'm going to go from verse 17 of chapter 6 down to verse 1 of chapter 7. This is Genesis chapter 6 from verse 17 down to chapter 7, verse 1. Okay, right? All right, so Genesis chapter 6. Watch this. I want you to get this picture, right? Watch. And behold, this is Father Yah, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven. And everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee, that is you, Noah, I will establish my covenant. Thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. and take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, that thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that Yahweh commanded him, so did he. Obedience. Verse 1 of chapter 7. And Yahweh said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. So he had called Noah. Why? Because Noah sought to be obedient to him. Noah sought to glorify his name. So Noah was called. Or should I say, Noah answered the call. Because the Father's calling a lot of people, but not everybody answers the call. Many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. The chosen ones seek to glorify their Father. The chosen ones seek obedience to the Father. The chosen ones are not trying to glorify themselves. He said, Noah, I've seen you righteous before me in this evil generation. I'm going to establish my covenant with you. And the Bible said everything that Yahweh did, that Yahweh commanded him, he did. Praise the Most High. Now, let's not forget what caused Noah to be called righteous. It wasn't because Noah just did all the right works. We know Noah got drunk, didn't we? Noah had some wine. So what would cause Noah to be righteous? The righteous man was laid up. He wasn't no wine, no. Well, what happened now? Well, we know what happened. But I want to show you something. Matthew chapter 22, a parable of the Messiah. Matthew chapter 22, many are called, but few are chosen. What's the difference? Matthew chapter 22, I'm going to read from verse 1 to verse 14. Matthew chapter 22, from verse 1 to verse 14. Are you ready? Matthew 22, 1 through 14. And Yahushua answered and spake unto them again by parables, and said, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son. Obviously, we know who that is and who that is. And sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. So he said the father had a marriage for his son, and he called for servants to bid the ones that are called to the wedding, and they wouldn't come. Again, he sent forth other servants, that would be prophets, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all, as many as they found, both bad and good. And the wedding was furnished with guests. And the king came in to see the guests, and saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. So he had no problem with nobody else except this one dude who wasn't dressed properly. You come into a king's wedding and you're not dressed properly. He provided everything for you. And he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. In other words, he had no excuse because it was all provided for him. He decided not to wear it. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. Well, brethren, who was the chosen ones? The one that had on the wedding garment. The ones with the wedding garment were chosen. What is the wedding garment? Talk to me, brethren. Y'all tell me, what exactly was the wedding garment? And why was it so special that he had to have his special clothes? Like his threads wasn't right, brother. Them vines wasn't working. That's right. It's the robe of perfect righteousness. And it was provided for him. That's why he had no excuse. So the Father's righteousness is the robe that made the called the chosen. And the Father's righteousness is revealed in obedience to the Father. And the obedience and the righteousness come by faith. Isn't that clear? Isn't that easy? Isn't that simple? So a called person becomes a chosen person to glorify the Father in obedience. That glory of obedience comes from the perfect righteousness which you receive from the Father. So he furnishes the wedding, he gives you the clothes, and he bids you to come. Because many are called, but few are chosen. Praise the Most High. Isn't that powerful? But it's simple, isn't it? This is the thing that even the child, like we can understand this. It's not that complicated. People make it complicated, but it's not complicated. Not at all. So Noah was called and chosen, and he was seen as righteous. That tells you all you need to know. He was wearing the garment. He was seeking to glorify his Father, and it was shown forth in his obedience. Whatever the Father told him, that's what he did. Even Messiah did another parable. He said there were two sons, and the father said, one, go and work in my vineyard. And he said, I'm going to go. And he didn't go. Then the other one said, go and work in my vineyard. I ain't going. But then later on, he said, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going. He said, who did the will of his father? He said, the second, because he repented. He said, that's when he told the scribes and Pharisees, he said, the harlots and the publicans come into the kingdom before you because you acting like you ain't repenting. You acting like you good. And they know they weren't good, and they repented of their sins, and they came to the truth. See? So we might even be disobedient. Matter of fact, the truth be told, all of us disobedient before we become obedient. Because we all that are obedient have answered the call. We have answered the call, and we have repented of our sin, and we seek to glorify the Father. That makes us chosen. Father is blessings upon us, man, because to be called chosen and faithful, and you and I know we don't deserve anything like that. But he calls us that anyway because of the glory of his own righteousness that covers us, the call of his own spirit that brought us. No man can come to me, again, the Messiah said, unless my Father draw him. Praise the Most High. So now we can see what it means to be called. Next time you hear it, and you're going to hear this all the time. You do, right? I'm called. I'm a prophet. Oh, really? Why? Because the Lord told me to raise up his church. That's the one that killed me. Oh, did he? I'm supposed to raise up the tribes. Are you really? That's the one that killed me, man. Oh, man. See, I'll be fool enough to say something like that, and the Father will spank my behind. And you know what? I'm glad he does. Oh, man, he will beat your behind. And you know, we stiff-necked Hebrews. Hard nuts to crack, aren't we? We hard nuts to crack. For real, for real. There ain't no walnut cracker that can open these Hebrews, man. Daggone, man. Sure. I don't believe there's ever been a people on the face of the planet as hard-headed and stiff-necked as the bloodline Hebrews. I don't think so. You know, Father said, Messiah said, he told Ezekiel, if I had sent you to another nation with this language, they repented, but not Israel. Not Israel. He said, if I'd have sent you to another nation with this message, Ezekiel, they'd repent. He said, but not these people. He said, I'm going to make your forehead like flint against their forehead, because there's some hard people you're dealing with. Brethren, I don't think there's ever been a nation as stiff-necked as us. But at the same time, right? At the same time, when we come to the truth, when we come now, don't mess with it. You know, I like this to the people of that are called Spanish and Latin. I ain't never seen no people when they come to the truth. The Puerto Ricans, when they come to the truth, the Dominicans, when they decide, I'm gonna serve the Lord, even when they Christians, I don't think I've seen any people as sincere, as them. You know what I'm saying? When they come, man, don't mess with them. Don't mess with them. And that gives me hope. Because and I know, man, shoot, man. We some tough ones, man. We some tough ones. Okay, that just comes with the territory of being a Hebrew. You know how that go, right? Well, speaking of being called, let's go to Genesis chapter 12. So we discussed yesterday, we went and we studied, how old Noah was and how long he lived. And we saw that Noah was 894 years old when Abram was born, and that he actually lived another 56 years. So Abram was 56 years old when Noah died. 56. That's right. But the Most High shows, honestly, he shows the power of his grace through us. That's why without us, there is no salvation. I'm just telling you, it's not that we saviors, but it's the word of the Father. The words say, I'm going to choose Israel first, then to choose the Gentile. So unless Israel's getting the truth first, you ain't getting none. That's just how it is, brother. I know it don't sound good, but it is what it is. To the Jew first, and also to the Greek. So if you think, you get children of Yafet leading the movement, I'm going to tell you right now, it's the wrong one. You ain't got to look twice. I'm going to tell you right now, it's the wrong one. When children of Yafet leading the movement, it's not. Hebrews, bloodline called first. Okay? That's Bible. Peter, right? Remember? Listen, Cornelius, you want the truth? He sent an angel to tell him, go get the Hebrew. He's going to tell you what you need to know. Go get the Hebrew. He's going to tell you. And I said, this man Saul, I heard about him. He's rough. He's a chosen vessel to me, to the Gentiles. He's a chosen vessel, Father say. Messiah told Ananias, say he's a chosen vessel to bring my name before the Gentiles. Tribe of Benjamin. Okay, so no, there's no other people called by the Father to lead his truth. It's us. Okay, and obviously, that's right, go get Kafa. He live over here in this street, go get him, and he'll teach you what you need to know. Why did he go through all that? Because he's going to fulfill the Father's word. He's going to fulfill the Father's word. And when Saul became Paul, when the brethren laid hands on him, there was one of the brothers that was so dark, they called him Niger. One of the brothers, let me lay hands on you, get you ready for this work, brother. He was so dark. They called him Niger. Some of us brown, some of us real brown, right? We come in all shades. Some of us real light, some of us brown, some of us dark brown, some of us real dark. Well, this was one of the brothers that laid hands on Paul. He said, lay hands. He said, the Holy Ghost sends you, and I think it was Silas. He sends y'all out here. Lay hands on you, brother. Praise the Most High. Now, Genesis, the call. Some of us smoke. That's right. Some of us smoke. Some of us smoke. That's at my neighborhood. It's all, all so-called black neighborhood. And, everybody had a nickname. And there was my brother, my man. His real name was Eddie, but we never called him Eddie. If somebody said Ed, we don't know who he talking about. Say, yo, where's Smoke at? Everybody know what you talking about. Everybody know. From time we was 4 or 5 years old, we all really met in kindergarten. And then to now, and that's almost 60 years. If somebody say, hey, you don't know who they talking about. If somebody say, you heard what happened to Smoke, or where's Smoke at? No, where's Smoke at? We know exactly what you're talking about. We know exactly who you're talking about. See? Everybody. And y'all know we all had nicknames. It just according to what was the impression we gave. Everybody had a nickname. There was Smoke, there was Moon, there was Greek. Everybody had a name. Everybody had a name. Ice. I think every neighborhood has an ice. Praise the Most High. All right. Well, Genesis chapter 12. The call. Genesis chapter 12. Verse 1. Now Yahweh has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. Now, here's another one, brother. When you're called, oftentimes you're separated from your familiars. Even like Jeremiah or Ezekiel, who are called to give the message to their own people, they were separated from their own people, so that they were attacked by their own people. Ezekiel was attacked and Jeremiah was attacked by their own people. So like when you are called, one also that happens is you're separated, sometimes physically separated from people that you know, people that you're close to, family, and some of y'all know, I've heard people say, man, we by ourselves, we want fellowship, blah, blah, blah. And I hear you, but sometimes Father, when he calls you, he separates you. He separated Jeremiah to the point where Jeremiah said, man, send me somebody. I can't deal with it. And he sent them Baruch. He said, okay, I'm going to send you Baruch. Moses said, I can't do this. He said, okay, I'm going to send you your brother Aaron. He's on his way. Meet him. I sent him. But a lot of times, brother, he calls us. And at least for a little while, at least sometimes for years, he has us by ourselves. Because Father, is dealing with you and me, right? He's dealing with us. And so sometimes he separates us. He's like, some of your friends said, man, I ain't seen you in a minute. Where you been? And you can't really explain it, except to know the Father has separated you from your friends, man, from your family. I remember that happened to me. It was a long time ago. And I told you, me and my wife had a fight. I was living in Manhattan. And I got so mad, I left the apartment and just started walking. And I'm telling you, I left the apartment, started walking. We lived on 97th Street in west side of Manhattan. And I walked all the way to 34th Street. And I just went down. Now I know the Father was leading me, but then I just was mad. And I walked and I jumped on the first train, headed out. And it was going out to Long Island, and it was going out to my town. I didn't even know when I jumped on the train. I bought my ticket on the train. I don't know how they do it now, but you could buy your ticket on the train or you could buy it before. I just jumped on the train. It was going out to Babylon. No, actually, it was going out to Wyandanch. That's exactly right. It was going out to Wyandanch. And I got off at Wyandanch, and I just started walking. And I was walking, and I went to my boy's Moon's Nah, it was not Metro North. It was Long Island Railroad. Long Island Railroad. And I just walked onto the train and it went to Wyandanch. I live out there, Wyandanch, Babylon. That's where I was living most of my life. I was born in Hempstead, but I was on the LIRR. And I started walking. And I ended up at my boy Moon's house. That's what we call him. His name was Bruce, but we call him Moon. And it was night. It was late. It must have been 11, 12 o'clock at night. I had been so mad. That's what happened. I walked out, man. Didn't want to see my wife. Didn't want to see nothing. Walked out. End up from 97th Street in Columbus Avenue in Wyandanch. To end up in Wyandanch, Long Island. And then I walked to Moon's house. And I got to Moon's house. Cars all in front of Moon's house. So I walked in there. You know, like I said, I just left. Father was guiding me, though. I walked in there. All my fellas was there. All my fellas from the neighborhood was in there that night. Moon was there. Ice, Mo, Smoke. Everybody was there. And they had, you know, the scale. You know what the scale is for, right? This was mid-80s. This was 85. There was a scale. They had a scale. And they were all hanging out, drinking brews, like we would do before in the day. And I had been long separated from that. By that time, I had been separated from that for 3 years. 3 years already. And I hadn't seen these brothers. And they hadn't seen me. And I just walked in. Because I ain't got a knock. It's my boy, right? I just walked in. Yo, G, they should call me. And my nickname was Tote, T-O-T-E. I won't tell you why. Tote, what you doing, boy? What you doing? I was like, yo, what y'all doing? Like I knew what they was doing. And Mo said, G, you know, come on, man. No, don't be coming in here preaching to us, man. I said, and I said, something bothered me, man. I said, this is not good. Right then, that was just at the same time that crack came out. They were measuring cocaine, but crack came out like very shortly after that. Like literally within a couple of weeks, crack started. And I just had a bad feeling. They were all in good shape. They were all working, saving money. And after that, they all got hooked on it. All of them. Smoke didn't get hooked, and Moon didn't get hooked, but Mo and Ice, oh my God, they got bad, real bad. When crack first came out, some of y'all remember, it was bad, man. It was really bad. It was bad. All my fellas got hooked on it. My boy Jimmy, my boy Gazi, all my friends got hooked on it, man. And it started that night. And I was there. And you know, this is what I'm saying. They hadn't seen me. Because the Father had me separated from all my friends for a couple of years, just reading his word. And I realized that night, I don't know where I had been if he hadn't separated me. I don't know where I'd be. What would have happened? Because we were all like brothers. Y'all know, when you got your fellas, these are your ace booms, man. You know what I'm saying? These are your ace booms. He has separated me from 82, right? This was 85. He had separated me from 82, and I was by myself in my apartment in New York. Before I even met my wife, I was by myself just reading his word and studying. I had been separated from all the people I knew for a couple of years. And then this particular night, he led me out there to Moon's house. And I was like, dang. And I realized, just like all of them, it could have been me. Could have been me. It wasn't like, I was shocked. And I talked to I called a brother from the church. And I told him what I just told you. And he said, man, I was at that time, I was also, I began to be a chaplain y'all remember, I don't know if y'all remember Harlem, but there was a hospital in Harlem. It was called Joint Disease Hospital. Later, they renamed it to North General. I don't know what they call it now. I don't even know if it's in existence. It was in Harlem. It was around 120 something street. I was a chaplain there for a couple of years, and I started in 85. I started being a chaplain in that hospital in 85. And I started at the same time when I saw my fellas that same year. When I first started working in there as a chaplain, people would come in there and they had track marks all on their arms, on their legs. People would be missing limbs sometimes because of the heroin, because they were trying to find veins to shoot the heroin. And they had been shooting the heroin for so long that you started seeing, swelling. And where I was in a rehab. That's where I was a chaplain. It was a heroin rehab clinic. And they would give them methadone. And they would do it for 10 days. This is how they treated it. So when crack came out, what I noticed, the first time I noticed, there was these young Puerto Rican girls. They had no marks on them. And they were very young. Like most of the people that I was seeing there were like 40s, 35, something like that. But these little girls couldn't have been more than 15. And they was in there and they had no marks. And I said, and I didn't say nothing to them, but I found out later that they jumped out the window of the building and left the program. Like there was court order. And I called my boy and I told him what happened that Friday. It was a Friday night when I went to Moon's house, and I told him what happened at the clinic. He said, "Man, you ain't heard of the cracks?" I said, "The cracks? What you talking about?" He said, "You ain't heard of it?" I said, "No." And then he told me what it was. He said they give it to the young girls because they can easily get them hooked and have sex with them. I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, all you got to use it one time." And then it all came to me. My boy Mo, he was the youngest. He had 7 sisters, man, and he was the youngest child and the only boy. He was all our life. Mo was always getting over because this mother and they was treating him like gold. And so he was saving money, making money, had him a new car, and within a year he lost his car. He lost everything, lost his job, was riding a bicycle, and he was sleeping outside, and his own mother threw him out. That's when I knew it was serious. Because Mo's mother was like, I came there, I said, "Miss Poe," I said, "Miss P, what's going on?" And she was crying. I never seen her like that. She was crying. This is what this stuff was doing. And so he said, "You never heard of the crack?" And then I understood. I started seeing young girls, it was bad, man. That's all I can say. It was bad. And so nobody could tell me that the government is not trying to kill us, because I seen it. You can't tell me that. No way. I seen it. And so, we wasn't in no laboratory creating that. That came to us. Brothers figured out how to make it after a while. But when it came. It wasn't just, with what's that boy's name from South Central? Freeway Ricky Ross. It wasn't just him. That's the story they put out. They did this in every major city at the same time. It wasn't just South Central. They try to give you this story where it started in South Central. That's a lie. It started in all the cities where they redlined us. All of the places where we were redlined, where they created Black neighborhoods and Spanish neighborhoods, they put that stuff there purposely. And then, and not only that, dudes that was in the joint, dudes that was locked up, they purposely had these dudes come out of prison, gave them the stuff, brought it to the young kids. That's how it started. And I was there. I seen it. Okay. And I know it took me a while. It took me, I say 5 years to figure it out, because it was just a scourge that was so bad. It hit everybody like a ton of bricks. And it was, it was bad. It was bad. And I started seeing 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds killed, over territory. And so, and I wasn't raised in it, but I was there. You know what I'm saying? I was there. But man, and I realized this could have been me, man. This could have been me. I was fortunate. The Most High called me away from it in 82. Called me away from it. In 82. In 82, there was freebasing. Y'all remember freebasing? They were freebasing, but that was only dudes that was making money, because that cost money. The freebase cost money. You had to buy the cocaine, and then you had to do what you had to do, right? And so that was at the time, I didn't freebase for two reasons. Number one, it was too expensive. And number two, I seen what it was doing to brothers. And Richard Pryor actually helped me with that, seeing what happened to Richard Pryor. You remember what happened to Richard Pryor? He was freebasing and he almost burned himself to death. So I realized, oh man, So it's just too expensive. So I stuck with, weed, brew, stuff like that. But when I came to the Most High, when I came to Christ at the time, when I gave my life to Christ, I didn't want to do anything. You never mind, friends. It's before your time, man. It's before crack. It's what people were doing before crack. It's called freebase. So then I saw what happened to my boys, and I seen what happened to the little kids, and I was like, oh shoot. And I just barely jumped off that bridge right before that. See, it could have been me. So that's what I'm saying. When you answer a call, the Most High takes you away sometimes from your own friends, your own family. Sometimes when you get a call and he's trying to teach you, he gets you in his word, he gets you in his spirit, and sometimes he separates you from all your familiars, separates you from your family, separates you from everybody. And people treat you, like I come and I visit my cousins, I visit my aunts. And say, he was always special. He always was going to be a pastor. He's going to be a preacher. But he's still the same. He ain't changed. But it is what it is. But don't be surprised if in the process of the Father calling you, he separates you, because this is a common thing. When he called Noah was by himself. And for 120 years, he preached. And the only people to answer the call that Noah put forth was his family. That's it. The 7 people, that was his family. And with his wife. That's it. Okay? So, brethren, it's part of the process. It's part of the process. You're separated from your church, your former church family. That's part of the process. You're separated from some of your bloodline, your cousins. They don't understand what you're dealing with. That's part of the process. Separated from your homies. That's part of the process. How many people did Noah preach to? Think about this, sports fan pronto. Think about this. How many babies could you have if you could have an unlimited a number of women that you wanted and you lived 800 years? Think about that, sports fan. How many babies could you have if you lived 800 years and had as many women as you want? So you're talking about generations like that. So how many people could there have been? There were millions of people. Yeah, there were millions of people. Millions. So, just one man can get as many women pregnant as he can have sex with. Right? One man. Women can only be pregnant by one man at a time. But a man can get 100 women pregnant, 1,000 women. And if you live to be 800 years old and you got 10 women pregnant every year, that's just you, right? How many babies you responsible for? See that? And so you had a whole generations of that before the flood. So how many people did Noah preach to? Millions of people. If you just go through the chosen seed line, Adam lived to be 930 years and had sons and daughters. 930 years, had sons and daughters. And all his children followed suit. The one that lived the least was Lamech. He only lived to be 777 years old and had sons and daughters. Yeah, free bases for the rich. That's right. Lonnie know. That's right. Lonnie know. Free bases for the rich. You couldn't, it was too expensive because it cost you too much money to buy the cocaine. But when they came out with crack, it was way more powerful. I never used it, fortunately for me, but I could see it because I see my boy Mo get hooked on it from one time and he was done. And it was $10. So from going to have to buy $200 worth of cocaine to freebase to getting $10 and getting twice, 3 times as powerful a high, that's what they did to us, man. That's what they did to us. That's what they did. Okay. And today they're doing the same thing, but it's with opioids. And now it's not just us that's getting opioid addicted, is it? coming back on their own heads, isn't it? And opioids is destroying, it's destroying a lot of people. Your children, your fed are getting it bad. The opioid addiction, getting it bad, out of control. This fentanyl thing, man, it's out of control. Okay. And that's just one thing. There's a lot of drugs. They got all kind of names for them. I don't even want to name them, but people are homeless. When you see a lot of young people homeless, it's usually over these pills, these drugs, these synthetics, these opioids. It ain't as simple as just crack and heroin anymore, even though that's still bad. Still bad. But now they done went to a new level on this stuff now, man. They done went to a new level. Yeah, you ain't missing nothing, Span, for a sports fan. You ain't missing nothing, man. You should be blessed. It's like I said, I guess that's my point. I am blessed because it could have been me. It could have been. When I walked in that house that night and I saw my fellas, I just had a bad feeling. And I said, yo. And they was like, don't preach to us, man, because they could see I had changed. I didn't even realize how much I had changed until I got back there. And everything felt different. And I just had a bad feeling. And I knew I was sent there for a reason. But it was after that everything changed in my neighborhood. Everything changed with my fellas, man. Everything changed. Okay. So, I was called. At that time. And the Most High separated me. And I didn't like it now. I ain't gonna front. I loved getting into the word, but I ain't gonna front and tell you it was fun to be separated from my family and my friends. But I knew at the same time, Father had did that. I knew he had done it. And so will you. When you come to the Father and he has you by yourself all of a sudden, and you just reading the word and nobody, where you been? Where you going? How come we ain't see you in church? What's going on? And, it's a call. Okay, it's a call. Praise the Most High. Verse 12, chapter 12. Genesis. Didn't we need to get too far off, but that's the call of Noah. That's the call of Abraham. Okay. Verse 1, we'll start at verse 1 and go to verse 3. This is Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3. Now Yahweh had said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So in Abraham and in Abraham's seed, all the families of the earth are blessed. Let me show you how. The slave trade enriched the United States of America, the richest country on planet Earth. The slave trade enriched all the European countries. They went and they traded slaves. They went to Africa and they traded slaves and used them to create the tobacco industry, the sugar industry, the cotton industry. And they got fabulously wealthy. Whole nations got fabulously wealthy. They went down into South Africa, the Dutch, and took all the diamonds they could get. And your whole empires, Oppenheimer, Core, all of the empires built off diamonds that they took from us. In thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. They went into Ghana, took the gold. Ghanaians can't even have the gold in their own land. It goes to Europe. That's the truth. Okay? They took minerals that create cell phones. Only one place they get it. See, and that's why Paul said, if the earth is blessed in our fall, what would happen in our fullness? When Revelation talks about in the seven trumpets, when you read the trumpets, you get through the first five trumpets, but especially the first four, where it says the sun ceased to shine, it was darkened and the moon didn't get their light. That's because we, the Hebrews, we're in darkness. When we're in darkness, the earth don't understand. They're all in darkness. When we awaken, light comes to the earth. In thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So Paul said to the Gentiles in Romans, he said, if you are blessed from their fall, can you imagine what's going to happen in their fullness? Talking about us. Talking about us. That's prophecy. It's Canaan. Blessed be Yahweh, Shem of Yahweh Most High. That's what Noah said. And Canaan shall be his servant. That's going to happen. Brother, we're going to take that land. We're going to have a nation. And we are going to bless the earth. Not just to rule, but to bless the earth. To bless all the families of the earth. Why? Because Yah said so. That's why. Because he said so. That's all it need, brethren. That's what it come down to, isn't it? It's because he said so. Why? Because he said so. That's all. It's because he said so. Not because we're smarter, more brilliant, or anything. Because he said so. In thee, Abraham, shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And that's what it is, brethren. Whether we're enslaved or whether we're free, we bless the earth. But of course, the Most High has us to bless the earth in our fullness, which is called the kingdom. That's going to be the kingdom. When we get in our fullness and we bless the earth. Right now, we're awakening because our Satan is against us. And so he is trying to create in his image glorification of man, glorification of people that wasn't called. But Father God is, and he's going to bring it forth because his word is going to come to pass. Why? Because he said so. Because he said so. Praise the Most High. So the calling in this case, Abram, was for the glorification of the Father. And in this case, Abram, I'm going to make you a great nation. This is what he told Abram. Did he say to Abram, I'm going to make you a great religion and all the religions of the earth are going to follow you? Did he say that? No. He said, I'm going to make you a great nation. That's what he said. I'm going to make you a nation. So, brethren, again, what religion are you? I'm not a religion. I'm a part of a scattered nation. A scattered nation, yeah, a scattered nation of people. We're the true Israelites scattered. See that? I will make of thee a great nation, and I will make thy name great. And all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Families, blessed. Families. Isn't that what he told Amos? I'm angry with you, Israel, because I chose you out of all the families of the earth. That's what he said. I chose you, Israel, of all. Look, let me show you. We're going to take a break at this, but listen, let me show you this here. In Amos, sorry, we only got, 3 verses, but you know how we roll. Amos chapter 3. Amos chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. There's only one chosen people, brethren, not 10. Amos chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Hear this word that Yahweh has spoken against you, O children of Israel. Against the whole family. This is Amos chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt. How many families he brought up? He said 1. You only, in case you didn't understand. He said, you only. Israel, you only have I known. I didn't know nobody else. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities, because I don't know nobody else. I only know y'all, because I only called y'all. He didn't call nobody else. Abram. And his children, Israel. That's who he called. See? And so while we are enslaved, the earth is in darkness. When we are oppressed, the earth is in darkness. When we're worshiping white Jesus and other gods, the earth is in darkness. When we awaken, the light turns on, brethren. And that's why I say, that's why the word teaches us our deliverance comes with the awakening. That's where the deliverance comes. The fall of Babylon is decided with our awakening. Not marching, not getting guns, not getting planes and bombs. And our awakening, a large part of it, as y'all can bear witness, is to understand who you are. Understand, have a knowledge of who you are, a knowledge of your history, a knowledge of where you come from, a knowledge of why you're where you are. That is part of the awakening, and that is part of the downfall of Babylon. Okay, that's it, brother. So again, it comes back to knowledge of who we are, knowledge of ourselves. Forget what the schools are doing. You got the best school in your house. You got the best school in your spirit from the Father right here. That's the school. We're the true Israelites. We're the Israelite people from the Bible. You see the Bible talks about Israel. That's us. That's your family. That's our family. That's where we come from. You see Messiah, the one they call Jesus, that's your cousin. That's your cousin. He's your older cousin. Yeah. Bloodline cousin. How is that? Because we come from the 12 tribes. Our father Abraham, and Messiah comes from Judah, and Judah is part of the 12 tribes. Therefore, we're related to him. Cousins. There you go. Cousin. Y'all got that, cousins? You got that, fam? Praise the Most High. All right. I'm going to take a break. It's now 1:07. I'm going to come back about 1:45 and start again in Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12 with the call. Praise the Most High. That's right. That's right, cousin. That's right. Praise the Most High. That's right. That's right. That's right. Praise the Most High, cousin. So, my fam, we'll be back. If we don't see you now, may the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, my fam. Shalom, cousins.